All right. I've been wanting to touch on this yesterday, but there's just a lot of stuff going on, and I didn't have the time uh, to get to it. So I'm just gonna touch on this today and right now, as the month of June has just barely started. As you know, yesterday, May 31, as I said yesterday, May 31 to me is one of the only few days of all the 365 days in a year where it has just had a lot of big highlights, and most of them have been good, but one of them, as I'm going to mention right now, is not so good. So, as you know, a year from that day, which was yesterday, um, it turns out that Robby got pissed off at me because there was a conversation, and it was me that actually initiated it, and it was concerning politics, concerning the economic concerns of the nation under then President Joe Biden. Hopefully, I'm just praying for his recovery right now. You know, as I found out about what his illness was, and it's pretty serious. I'm just praying for his recovery, and I'm just wishing him a full recovery. So yeah, it was concerning a lot of the politics, obviously. Shortly before what transpired on that very day, me and I found out about um, Trump's hush money thing. He was guilty on all charges. It started with that, the day before. What was that one incident, and then when it came to that day, as you can see right here, I'm gonna actually show this one, uh, where it was in that everyone group text, that group text that I created. I think it was for Christmas in 2022. I literally had everyone in there except Nick and Anastasia and Cecilia, but like all the main guys like Ray, uh, Carlos, Dewey, Julio, Robby, Russ, Abbas, Neil, myself, Andrew. So it was with everyone in there, right? So I basically just said, like, I don't know, because you know how it is with me every time I'm in that dump and feeling miserable as I've been, right? So I said that the nation will completely fall apart, worse than ever. I felt that way. I'm sure I'm not the only one that said it at the time that I said it, and now look where the nation is at under the tariff plan. Um, so yeah, I just kind of clowned off, saying that I'm never gonna get a new job again under then President Joe Biden, even if he were to become the president, become elected again for the next 4 years, right? I said I'll never get a new job again, and and I kind of joked around saying that I want to go 1-8 before his final tenure finishes in 2028. 1-8. A boss once joked around saying that I'm going to go 0-12. Obviously, he was going to be wrong there, but and then you got Russ out here saying I'm not voting next election anyway. He decides not to vote, and here it comes. I said what I said there, and I said you know about Biden and all that, and then I meant to say F Putin, but for some reason, because I was going to lunch at that time, and I had my phone with me because just wasn't feeling it on that day, right? And I had a basketball shoot around makeup game. I think it was to me, I think that was my I think I wanted to use I used up what was limited to be 5 makeup games, and I used my 5th one. And I was planning to play in Brookhaven Park the makeup game for April 4th, that I lost. So I had my phone in my one hand, right? and I was just saying a lot of bullshit, especially concerning politics. Because of the fact that it was election year, and it's a lot of chaos, right? So right before I went in the car, I meant to say F Putin too, but it turns out, like, as I was driving, Robby responded. I was trying to figure out what he said. I was driving my old car then. That was already traded away, right? And I looked to find out, because I was already at the park at the time that he texted the entire group chat. And look what it said here. Fuck you. That's what Robby said. Fuck you. And then, only for me to realize that I ended up saying the Philippines and not Putin. That's right. I said F the Philippines and instead of F Putin. So it was obviously an autocorrect. I had to make it clear to him right here. Damn it, the autocorrect, not the Philippines. It's supposed to be Putin, but for some reason the Philippines ended up in the suggestions. No, I did not mean that, man. No, and I was walking fast getting in my car that time. It was true. Like, this is why I kind of stopped doing the, like, texting on one hand. Because, especially when I'm heated in the moment, you just never know with a lot of typos or, just auto-correct for the wrong words that might be used that would lead to such a misunderstanding like this. So, that's what happened. Robby ended up saying that to me. This was just minutes before I started doing my shoot around, and the whole game itself, it was what it is. I mean, I feel like it wasn't nearly as as good as the first one, but I gave my all, but I really didn't feel the same myself after that happened. And I tried to explain it to Robby. He just completely ignored me off. And then later in the day, I found out about the possible, when I came back to my desk, to my dump, that I think I had like a job interview opportunity at the time. So yeah, bottom line is, he got pissed off. He told me F you, and and then he proceeded to, I think he blocked me on Facebook. I thought he just unfriended me, but he blocked me on Facebook. He still had me on Instagram, but he just blocked me on Facebook. And yeah, that's when I felt really cold after what transpired in that moment on that very day. So fast forward, like, it was just tough, right? It was so tough that my next 3 shoot-around games, I lost the next 2, and one at home and one on the road. And I was 0-3 since that fallout, and I kind of made an edit right here. I'm sure Robby's not going to see this because he unsubscribed to me also on YouTube, like right after that group text incident, I would think. But yeah, you can see it right here real quick. I had a good laugh at it, even though it was it was just too funny how I just put that. Yeah, so yeah, I lost 3 in a row, and obviously since that incident. And yeah, and anyways, so yeah, that I really didn't mean that. It wasn't autocorrect. He didn't want to hear from me, at least until his birthday came up. So he wanted nothing to do with me. And this very incident, it did not end our friendship. Then the group text incident ended our friendship. Even if I tried to stop him and say, hey, I've known you since junior high, he wasn't buying any of that. Because it was only shortly after that I found out that on his YouTube account, the only videos he had remaining are his pet videos. I can show you right here. Yeah, it's only 5 videos now. He deleted all the Nutballers ones. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, so that goes to further show that not only is he done with me completely, but I feel like now he just wants nothing to do with the Nutballers anymore. So, I mean, just it's just sad, dude. It's just a sad reality, and I know that I think for sure that his wife is already here in the U.S. I'm sure they're spending time together now, because I know Robby made it clear that once his wife comes down here and lives with him, then there's gonna be no more time to hang out. So I tried as much as possible to hang with him, because I know he told me that like when we had lunch at Red Robin in 2023, and our hangouts starting, I can only recall the only hangouts we did were this Black Bear Diner with Dewey to celebrate Dewey's birthday, part 2, and then obviously the LA Fair, which was a late start since Russ had to get out in the early afternoon. He got off at 3, and then the last hangout was obviously his birthday when we celebrated at El Torito, just off of Orange, and that was the last time that we ever hung out. And we made up at the time. He was over it. He was over that incident. We talked about it on the phone after he came from his Washington trip. But yeah, the group text incident, that pretty much ended our friendship right there. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on this very incident because, it got me so cold. And, I told him about the autocorrect, and he didn't want to hear from me at least for the next couple of months. And then we talked about it on the phone, and, he was like, yeah, I'm over it. And I totally understand that it was an autocorrect. So we were all good. And then after that, the group text incident just solidified his case that he doesn't find me a trustable friend anymore. So it's just unfortunate, but it is what it is at this point on. I mean, Robby and I had a good run in our friendship, and just being the OG of the Nutballers alongside then OG Chris, who I've communicated with recently, and then a boss whom I haven't talked to since his birthday in October, and it's myself as well. Yeah, well, it just sucks, man. I mean, I definitely lost a friend, another close friend, not just another close friend, but a friend from the Nutballers. And this one is bigger than losing Tristan, who has taken a leave of absence, and obviously I know how Tristan is as a friend, and he has a totally different personality. He's not so much of he doesn't have the Nutballer traits that the rest of us do. So this loss of Robby is just much bigger, and to me, and I just never thought like it would get this far. And like I said, this one would have easily been avoided if if I had a new job. I said it before. If I had a new job, all these issues I have right now, and especially from last year, all of that could have been avoided if I already had a new job. I said it before, but here we are. So this is all I want to touch on. It just sucks that this very incident just roughened our friendship to a point where we didn't talk for a while. This one was worse than what I posted for that got Julio upset. That was concerning the marriage of his in-law, and this one was just worse to me. But it is what it is at this point. So anyways, I want to cut it and see you guys later.